There is a tree at the end of the world. It is taller than anything that has ever lived. It glows gold in the dark, and everything around it is dead. That is where Elden Ring begins. Not with a hero, not with a prophecy, with a question. How does something this beautiful end up surrounded by so much ruin? Elden Ring is a collaboration between two of the most creative minds alive. George R.R. Martin, the author of Game of Thrones, wrote the ancient history of this world, the wars, the betrayals, the complicated broken family at the center of everything. Then Hidetaka Miyazaki and From Software took that history, aged it 5,000 years, destroyed it in a magical apocalypse, and left players to piece it together from the ruins. What they built together is one of the richest, darkest, most layered fictional worlds ever created, and most people who played it have no idea what actually happened. This is the complete story. The world is called the Lands Between, a vast continent surrounded by an ocean of fog so thick that no one can sail through it. At the center of everything stands the Erdtree, a colossal, spectral tree that bathes the entire land in golden light. It is not just a landmark, it is a machine, a cosmic recycler. When people die in the Lands Between, their souls are absorbed into the Erdtree's roots, processed, and sent back. Grace, the golden energy the tree distributes, flows out to the living, blessing them with strength and purpose. The Erdtree is the heartbeat of this world. Without it, everything stops. And at the center of the Erdtree's power is the Elden Ring, not a ring you wear, not a physical object at all. The Elden Ring is the set of laws that govern reality itself, the rules defining life, death, magic, and existence. Think of it as the source code of the universe. It is housed inside a living vessel, a god, and as long as the Elden Ring is intact and the god who holds it is on the throne, reality operates as it should. The moment that changes, everything falls apart. But where did the Elden Ring come from? That is where it gets strange. This universe is not governed by one god. It is watched over by outer gods, incomprehensible, alien intelligences so vast they cannot take physical form. They can only reach into the world through vessels and agents. The most powerful of these is the Greater Will, an entity obsessed with order. Eons ago, the Greater Will hurled a golden star down into the Lands Between. Inside that star was a living creature, a cosmic beast, and that beast became the Elden Ring, the physical anchor of the Greater Will's order in this world. The Greater Will is not alone. Other outer gods press constantly at the edges of the world, each with its own agenda. The Formless Mother craves wounds and blood. She wants suffering. The god of rot believes in decay and rebirth, that all things must rot to make way for something new. And then there is the Frenzied Flame, the most dangerous of them all. The Frenzied Flame believes that existence itself was a mistake. That individual lives, individual consciousness, individual suffering. All of it is wrong. Its goal is to burn everything, every living thing, every structure, every idea, back into a single undifferentiated blob of chaos. No more people, no more pain, no more anything. Just silence. Now meet the woman at the center of everything, Queen Marika the Eternal. She is not from the Lands Between. She was born in a small, forgotten village in a hidden realm, the daughter of persecuted people. She had no power, no status, no throne, but she was what is called an Empyrean, a being with the rare potential to ascend to godhood and become a vessel for a god's power. The Greater Will chose her, and Marika, who had spent her childhood watching her people suffer under the boots of their oppressors, accepted. She became a god. She became the vessel of the Elden Ring, and then she made sure that no one would ever be able to take that power away from her. Marika built the Golden Order, a religion, a government, and a military machine all in one. Its central law was simple: the Erdtree is divine. The Greater Will is supreme, and anything that predated Marika's rule, the old wild magic, the ancient bloodlines, the primordial life forms, was heresy. People born with animalistic traits, horns, tails, scales, these were called omens and misbegotten, and they were hunted, imprisoned, and thrown into the sewers beneath the capital. To be different was to be wrong. To be wrong was to be erased. Marika, who had once been a victim of exactly this kind of persecution, built a machine that did the exact same thing to others. To build her empire, Marika needed a weapon. She found one in a bloodthirsty warlord named Hawara Lux. She gave him a new name, Godfrey, and a new title, the First Elden Lord. Together, they led her armies across the continent, conquering everything that stood against the Golden Order. Every war they fought, they won. Every enemy they faced, they crushed. The lands between bent to the Erdtree's light, and then there were no more enemies left. The wars were over, the conquest was done, and the moment Godfrey had nothing left to fight, Marika stripped him of his grace. She exiled him, cast out into the outer lands with his army, to wander and fight and eventually die in foreign wars that meant nothing. Godfrey's exiled warriors became known as the Tarnished, stripped of grace, stripped of purpose, wandering the outer lands, fighting forgotten wars, living and dying without meaning. But Marika made one secret promise before she sent them away. One day, she told them, grace would return, a golden light would call them back, and when it did, they would have the chance to become the new Elden Lord. The Tarnished were not discarded, they were stored, put away until they were needed again. After Godfrey was exiled, Marika took a new husband. His name was Radagon, a red-haired champion of the Golden Order, brilliant and powerful. He had previously been married to Renala, the queen of a rival kingdom of sorcerers, with whom he had 3 children. Then he simply left her, married Marika, and the children he had with Renala became demigods overnight. But here is the thing about Radagon, that the game reveals slowly, quietly, in fragments of item descriptions and cutscenes, a truth so strange it rewrites everything you thought you knew about this world. Radagon is Marika. They are the same being, 2 souls, 2 wills, sharing one divine body. Marika and Radagon are not husband and wife. They are a single god, split. By the time the Shattering happens, the apocalyptic event that breaks the world, Marika and Radagon have produced an enormous, complicated, deeply dysfunctional family of demigods. Marika with Godfrey, Godwyn the Golden, beloved and heroic, and, in the sewers, hidden and shamed, Morgott and Mog, born cursed with omen blood. Radagon with Renala, Ranni, Radahn, and Rykard, gifted with sorcery and strength, and madness in equal measure. And then the most tragic of all, Micaiah and Malenia, born of a god who married their other self. Because their parents were 2 halves of one divine being, they came into existence cursed. Micaiah is trapped forever in a child's body, unable to age, and Malenia rots from the inside out, her body consumed by scarlet rot she cannot control. This is Marika's family. This is what divinity looks like up close. Everything breaks on one night, a single event that begins the end of the Golden Age, a night so consequential that the entire history of Elden Ring flows from it like blood from a wound. The Night of the Black Knives. A group of assassins, women bound to Marika's own ancient bloodline, moved through the capital with daggers that had been imbued with something impossible, the Rune of Death, the very concept of death itself stolen from inside the Elden Ring. And their target was Godwyn the Golden, Marika's favorite son, the demigod everyone loved. The plot was orchestrated by Ranni, Radagon and Renala's eldest daughter. Ranni was an Empyrean, chosen by the 2 Fingers, destined in their plan to become the next vessel of the Elden Ring, to become the next Marika, and she refused. She would not be a puppet of the greater will. She would not spend an eternity as a god's instrument, but escaping that fate was nearly impossible. The only exit was death, and death requires the Rune of Death, which Marika had removed from the ring, so Ranni stole it. She arranged the assassination, and she used the stolen rune in the most surgically precise way imaginable. She killed her own soul, preserving her spirit in a doll, and she killed Godwyn's soul while leaving his body alive. Soul death, body death. 2 separate fates for 2 separate victims on the same night. Ranni escaped her destiny, and Godwyn became something horrifying. A body without a soul does not die, it mutates. Godwyn the Golden, once the most beloved of all the demigods, became the Prince of Death. His soulless, immortal body grew and spread through the roots of the Erdtree, corrupting them from within. Even now, in the ruins of the world the game takes place in, his corruption still spreads. His face can be seen in the stone beneath the capital. His body has become part of the architecture of death itself. He is neither alive nor dead. He is something the world has no word for. And Marika, when she found out what had happened to her son, broke. No one knows the full depth of what Marika felt in that moment, whether it was grief for Godwin, or fury at the greater will, or something that had been building for decades, some private disillusionment with the golden system she had built. But what she did next changed everything. She picked up her hammer, and she shattered the Elden Ring. The laws of reality, the cosmic order, the heartbeat of the world. She broke it. Her other half, Radagon, tried to stop her, tried desperately to repair the damage. He failed, and the greater will, furious beyond comprehension, imprisoned them both inside the Erdtree as punishment. The fragments of the Elden Ring, the great runes, scattered across the lands between, and the demigods caught them. Each fragment contained an enormous piece of the world's power, and that power corrupted every single person who touched it. What followed was the Shattering, the worst war the world had ever seen. Brother against brother, sister against sister, every demigod fighting every other, each one convinced they should be the one to put the ring back together, or maybe not put it back at all. No one won. The Shattering ground to a stalemate. The lands between were left in ruins, and the demigods retreated to their castles and fortresses and swamps, broken and powerful and utterly alone. Let's meet them one by one, because each demigod is a tragedy in their own right. First, Godric the Grafted. He is the weakest of them all, a distant descendant of Godfrey, not even a direct son of Marika, who has spent his entire life humiliated by his own inadequacy. His solution: he captures warriors, chops off their limbs, and grafts them onto his own body. He is covered in stolen arms and stolen strength. He is a man so afraid of being powerless that he will do anything at all, to feel strong. He is pitiful, he is grotesque, and somewhere underneath all of that, he is terrified. Rennala was the queen of an ancient sorcerer kingdom long before Radagon ever arrived. Brilliant, powerful, revered. Radagon came as an enemy, and left as her husband. They had 3 children together. And then he left. He simply left, walked away, and married Marika. Rennala shattered, not the ring, just herself. She is found in her academy. Surrounded by students, she has been trying desperately to rebirth into something perfect. She sits on the floor clutching an amber egg Radagon gave her. The egg is the last thing she has. Her rebirth attempts always fail. Her students always come out wrong. She is not a villain. She is a woman who loved someone and was abandoned and never recovered. Radahn is everything a demigod hero should be. Massive, powerful, beloved by his soldiers, renowned across the entire world as the greatest warrior who ever lived. He studied gravity magic specifically so that his enormous body would not crush his small beloved horse, a horse he named Leonard, and refused to abandon. He was so powerful that when the stars threatened to fall on the lands between, Radahn held them frozen in place himself. He literally carries the sky. But then he fought Melania, and Melania infected him with scarlet rot, a biological weapon she cannot control, but that eats through everything it touches. Radahn the Great became Radahn the Beast, a once brilliant general, reduced to an animal, crawling across a rot-filled desert, eating the corpses of fallen soldiers. His own soldiers, who still love him, hold a festival every year in his honor, where they invite warriors to come and kill him and end his suffering. That is how beloved he is. They want his death to be worthy of him. Morgott is Marika's son, born with omen blood, the cursed animalistic traits the Golden Order despises. The moment he was born, he was thrown into the sewers beneath the capital, to be hidden away in shame. And yet, Morgott loves the Golden Order, loves it completely, spends his entire existence disguising himself, hiding his horns, fighting anonymously to defend the capital city that disowned him. Every other demigod is trying to tear the world apart for their own gain. Morgott is down in the sewers, bleeding, holding the gates, not because anyone asked him to, not because anyone knows, because he believes in something larger than himself, even though that something treated him as less than human. Rykard had a plan. A deeply insane plan, but a plan with a certain logic to it. He wanted revenge on the gods, on the greater will, on the entire divine system that had used his family as instruments. His solution: he fed himself to an ancient, immortal serpent, willingly walked into its mouth, because the serpent cannot be killed, and now neither can he. They are fused together into something that is both and neither, and their shared goal is to grow powerful enough to eat the gods themselves, one by one, starting with the demigods, then Marika, then the greater will. Rykard is not crazy exactly, he is just patient and hungry. Malenia has never been defeated in combat, not once in her entire life. She is considered the greatest swordsman in the history of the lands between. She is also rotting alive. The scarlet rot eats at her constantly. She has lost her arm, her eye, entire sections of her body to it. She has replaced them with golden prosthetics. She fights through it. She trains through it. She does everything through it. When she finally faced Radon, the only other warrior who could match her, the battle went on for so long and so brutally that Malenia's body reached its limit. She unleashed the rot in a single catastrophic bloom. The entire region around them became a wasteland, and Malenia collapsed into a coma, not dead, resting, waiting. She has done what she had to do. She never wanted any of this. Miquella is the most beloved of all the demigods, beautiful, kind, impossibly talented. He invented sorceries that worked outside the rules of the Golden Order. He was building a great tree, the Erdtree, as a sanctuary for the outcasts. He was trying to cure Malenia's rot. He cared. And then he climbed into a cocoon, sealed inside it to grow, to mature into a full god, and never came out, because Mog found him. Mog, Marika's other Sewers-born omen-blooded son, had embraced the outer god of blood and violence, and Mog was obsessed with Miquella. He tore the cocoon from the earth and carried it to his palace, and there he tends it, worships it, whispers to it, pours his blood over it in rituals of devotion. Miquella cannot wake up, he cannot escape, he is the prisoner of his own brother's love. This is where you enter the story. You are a Tarnished, one of Godfrey's exiled warriors or a descendant of them, stripped of grace long ago, wandering the outer lands. And then, one day, the light comes back, a golden thread in the air, pointing toward the lands between. Grace has returned, the Erdtree is calling. You are being summoned back, to kill the demigods, collect the great runes, repair the Elden Ring, and become the new Elden Lord. That is the mission, simple enough, except for the part where every demigod is a god-tier warrior who has spent years surviving the worst war in history. And the part where the Erdtree is sealed, and the part where the person who can let you inside has to die to do it. Melina arrives early. She is a spirit, a young woman with one eye sealed shut, who offers you a deal. She will serve as your maiden, helping you level up your power, in exchange for one thing. She wants you to take her to the Erdtree. At the end of your journey, at the Forge of the Giants, where the only flame that can burn through the Erdtree's thorns exists, Melina will step into the fire herself. She will burn alive to open the way for you. She knows this. She agrees to this. She has her own reasons for wanting the Erdtree to fall, which she keeps quiet. Melina is one of the most quietly devastating characters in the game, a person walking calmly toward their own sacrifice, asking nothing in return but that you finish what she starts. At the top of everything, past the demigods, past the Erdtree, past Marika and Radagon fused together on their prison throne, is the true final enemy, the Elden Beast. Not a god, not a demigod. The Elden Ring itself in its original living primordial form, the creature the greater will hurled into the world thousands of years ago. It has been inside the Erdtree this whole time, animating the divine order from within. When you kill it, you are not just killing a boss. You are reaching inside the universe and pulling out its operating system. What comes next depends entirely on what you choose. The most hopeful ending belongs to Ranni. If you follow her questline, help her recover the Dark Moon Ring, travel to the bottom of the world, place her ring on her finger, She takes the Elden Ring and leaves. She flies off into the cosmos, on a ship of her own making, carrying divine law away from the world entirely. No more greater will, no more outer gods pulling strings, no more cosmic order dictating how people are allowed to live and die. The age of stars, an age of mystery and freedom, uncertain and dark and entirely humanity's own. It is the ending Ranni spent 1,000 years working toward, and it is the ending most fans consider the true one. The darkest ending requires you to find the 3 fingers beneath the city, to let the frenzied flame possess you. If you do, you become the Lord of Chaos, and you burn everything, every person, every tree, every fragment of the Elden Ring, every outer god, every idea. The world dissolves into formless nothingness. No more suffering, no more war, no more anything. It is, in a horrific way, also a kind of mercy, a mercy for the hopeless. And Melina, who sacrificed herself to open your path, watches it happen, and swears she will find a way to end you for what you have done. The DLC, Shadow of the Erdtree, takes you somewhere new, a hidden realm, veiled from the lands between, that no one in the main world even knows exists, the Land of Shadow. This is where Marika was born, where her people lived and suffered, and it is where the darkest secrets of the Golden Age were buried and forgotten. Before Marika became a god, her people, the shamans, lived under the rule of the Hornsent, a civilization that worshipped the Crucible and its power, and considered the shamans beneath them. They kidnapped shaman children, branded them, stuffed them into great stone jars with criminals, believing the mingling of their flesh would produce holy warriors, saints. The shamans were not people to the Hornsent, they were ingredients. And Marika watched this happen. She survived it, and she remembered every moment of it. When Marika finally had the power to respond, she sent her son, a hidden son, kept secret from the histories, born with a serpent's curse she was ashamed of, to the Land of Shadow. His name was Mesmer the Impaler, and his orders were absolute. Kill every Hornsent, leave nothing. And then Marika sealed the Land of Shadow away from the rest of the world, and erased Mesmer from history entirely. He completed his mission. He exterminated an entire civilization for his mother, and then she abandoned him there, alone, forever, with no way out and no acknowledgement that he had ever existed. And here is where Miquella's story becomes truly disturbing. He came to the Land of Shadow, to ascend to godhood, and bring what he called an age of compassion. He wanted to end suffering. He wanted to stop war. The tragedy is that to do it, he had to strip himself of everything that made him kind. His capacity for love, shed. His doubt, shed. His empathy, shed. What remained was something pure and terrifying. A god who wants to help everyone whether they want it or not. Miquella's compassion is not offered. It is imposed. He plans to brainwash every living thing into peaceful compliance. No war, no conflict, no dissent, no choice. A paradise you never agreed to, a kindness you cannot refuse. And to seal his godhood, Miquella needed a consort, a divine partner to complete his ascension. He chose Radahn, not Radahn as he was, ruined and feral in his desert. Radahn as he should have been. Miquella arranged for the Tarnished to kill Radahn in the main game. Then he reached into death, took Radahn's soul and placed it into the body of the dead Mohg. He resurrected a legend and enslaved him. When you finally reach Miquella, gentle, beautiful Miquella, beloved by everyone, the kindest of the demigods, the final battle is against a brainwashed Radahn fighting at his side, and you must kill them both. Again. Here is something most players never stop to think about. The Erdtree is beautiful. It glows gold. It gives life. But look at what it is built on. Catacombs, packed with the compressed, recycled remains of everyone who has ever died in the lands between. The Erdtree does not give life. It recycles it. It feeds on death to sustain its glow. The most sacred symbol of the Golden Order, the tree that bathes the world in warmth and grace, is a parasite sitting on top of a mass grave. This is the truth of the Golden Age, beautiful above, built on bones below. Elden Ring is a story about what happens when power refuses to let go. Marika removed death so she could rule forever. She built a golden world and called it paradise. And it was, for the people who fit inside it. For everyone else, it was a system that hunted them, shamed them, and fed them to the tree. Every demigod in this story is a product of that system, broken by it, shaped by it, fighting against it or for it in ways they cannot fully understand. The Shattering was not an accident, it was inevitable. A golden age built on a lie has to crack eventually. What the Tarnished chooses at the end determines whether something new grows from the wreckage, or whether the fire finally finishes what the Shattering started. The Elden Ring is shattered, the Erdtree is burning, and for the first time in thousands of years, the future is not yet written.